It is such a pleasure having you with us. There is no one who is more perfect for this podcast than you, my beautiful Leila Al Marashi of CADO Gifting. Now, firstly, we just want to know, as a female entrepreneur from the Middle East, how does it feel?
Hi, Meredith. Thank you for having me on this awesome show. It feels good, actually. I think Dubai is really the city of dreams. And I know you'd agree with me
Of
because
course.
we've seen your brand develop over the last few years in such an organic and dynamic way. I think, we have fears starting our own thing and there's so much lack of stability, but there's also so much reward in owning your own time, making your decision, waking up for purpose. It's all about purpose.
I read the other day that most people will give away their freedom because they don't want to take the responsibility for having it.
100%. And we have this big challenge with talent now because of COVID, where there's this new term called quiet quitting. And we struggle actually a lot because it's now not about expecting deliverables to be delivered as much as it is sparking motivation and inspiration in people on a daily basis to keep them going or align them on your vision and what you're trying to achieve. Because as a founder, you're usually, top-down approach. You see the vision, you're excited. How do you deliver that to make it contagious for people around you?
That's a good question. How do you?
I mean, it's hard. There's a lot of educating involved. People have different priorities. I think in the past, Dubai used to be a city where you save money, and now it's a city where you spend money. So people are very attached to that paycheck and lifestyle. They don't see the bigger picture of, let's say, equity for employee stock options. It's really a personal choice. I think there is a startup type of talent to bring in versus a non-startup.
And do you think that, your talent in your team will kind of take you as far as they can, and then you kind of need to find the next level or the next layer?
I think what we've realized is outsourcing like-minded founders to support us on the supply chain has been very rewarding.
Amazing.
However, they have a lot of work that they need to tend to as well, which delays a bit. So it's kind of like you need to make choices. But I really feel like in today's day and age, there are so many platforms of outsourcing talent, like Upwork, Fiverr. You don't need a huge team in Dubai.
Yeah.
I think there are ways where you can collaborate and support each other to work together. Which is, it comes with its baggage because you're always having to negotiate good deals. And I think there's no bad experiences. There's just whether or not you were able to negotiate a good deal or not.
Well, let's go back to the beginning. Okay. So how did you come with this idea? What was that aha moment where you were like, hey, I just see this niche here that's not being tapped into? When was that? Describe it for us.
It's a really good question. So I've always been, I think, and I didn't realize, I've always been very entrepreneurial and I hated having someone to report to. I always gave my bosses a hard time and vice versa, I think. Because I'm so creative, and I just hated the bureaucracy and red tape I had to deal with.
And I'm sure the slow pace.
100%.
Yeah.
And oil and gas is a very male-dominated sort of technical industry. So I always enjoyed a certain area of career aspects that had to do with being creative. And I remember I was working in Abu Dhabi and it was February 8th, 2018. And I was just complaining to my sister that I was burnt out and I didn't have time to see my friends, even though on paper it was a dream job. I was brought in to change a full-on department. I was a VP. I was the only woman on the leadership team.
Amazing.
On paper.
Oh my gosh.
In theory, I was just burnt out. I felt, no appreciation. I was just really not in a good space at the time. And I was just telling my friend, my sister, I'm like, all these birthdays are passing by. I'm going to lose all my friends. And Dubai and I think the Middle East is such a gifting culture.
Yeah.
You just don't miss 2 birthdays in a year when people gift you,
Yeah.
So I noticed there was a gap. And my sister was talking about talabat. And I'm like, wait a minute. And I just made this connection of imagine a gift app that solved all your gifting issues. And I realized a lot of people were facing gifting challenges in their day-to-day lives, whether it was a birthday or Mother's Day or Valentine's. They just didn't know what to gift.
You know what else? Apart from not knowing, so there's that whole, oh my gosh, what does this person want? And that takes time. I just feel there's a lack of gift shops
100%.
here. You know, compared to when you come from outside or abroad, you know, we really have a lot of different little options and cute little boutiques. And when you move here, you do feel like, where do I kind of get that gift?
Or what do I gift?
What
What's
do I
appropriate,
gift? Yeah,
right?
what's appropriate, especially with multicultural gifting.
100%. And sometimes you want to gift something cute or gimmicky, and you're like, is that
Does it make
going to be
sense?
received well?
Are they never going to speak to me again?
100%. So I noticed there were problems in gifting in general. And then everybody was like, oh my God, that's a wonderful idea. You should do that. And lo and behold, March 8th, 2018,
Oh my
a month
gosh.
later, my
Oh my
boss and I
gosh.
had a conversation that maybe I would like to resign. And I'm like, you know what? I would love to resign. And then it was just meant to be, because for me, it freed me
Yeah.
to go after an idea that was very precious. And I just knew in my gut this was going to be the next big thing. So I spent, my savings, and I started fundraising, and I established the company in Delaware, and I had the whole structure mapped out and the concept.
Of course you did.
I started to talk to all these people to test the concept out, and they just loved it.
Amazing.
So I said, great, what could go wrong? And we launched in November 2019.
Amazing.
18 months later, I had raised $350,000 from angels and friends and families. And then we launched on the first day of COVID. And I'm like, nothing can stop us. And I was able to fundraise so easily before the app was ready. It's going to be a piece of cake a few months later when the app is, up and running and generating revenue.
Oh my gosh.
And honestly, it was dark. Like, it was a full-on year of nobody saying yes, everyone ignoring my calls and messages and emails. And I talked to everybody I could think of. It was just such, there was no light at the end of the tunnel for a whole year. I remember it was COVID. There was a lockdown. We were getting fined for deliveries. Our vendors were shutting down because we're the middleman. So we were kind of like, the concept was to be an aggregator that tied in vendors to end users.
Yeah.
And the end user was gifting a recipient. So there were a lot of moving parts. Disaster. So lo and behold, I told my sister again, I'm like, listen, if I'm not able to raise by March 2021, I'm shutting down the business. And March 2021, I was able to raise.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Really. And there are angels out there. And I was very fortunate to meet this one. And he injected cash into the business. And I brought in a new team. COVID had died down in terms of being able to operate more easily.
Amazing.
And we relaunched the brand. And then we were doing B2B, B2C. It was brilliant. The people I met were really angels in my life. One specific story I have to share. We met this French lady by coincidence. And her name was Gwen. And she was, retiring, shutting down the business, moving to Croatia. And she had a luxury corporate gifting company for 15 years in Dubai.
Oh my gosh.
With 3,000 clients.
What?
I swear to God. And it was all by herself with her PA, her driver, and her quality control person, with a little locker in behind Times Square. So she was like, listen, you really need to get into B2B. And I'm so grateful for what your country has given me. And I've never met an Emirati that wanted to enter this space. I'm so impressed that you are. I've always looked for a co-founder like you, but it's too late for me. I'm moving on.
Oh my God.
To my dream project with my husband. So I'm going to gift you the business. Can you imagine?
What?
She gave me the database, paid for 2 to 3 years of her domain name, and told everybody that approached her, CADO Gifting is our successor. And they bought us out.
No.
I swear to God.
I had no idea.
Can you believe? So we had this new database.
And you didn't know her before?
Nothing.
Oh my God.
And somebody was meant to introduce us and it didn't happen.
Does she still have equity?
Nothing.
What?
I'm not joking.
Oh
she
my
didn't ask for
gosh.
anything. And she till today mentors us.
Oh my God.
Who does that?
That's incredible.
It was actually. She was an angel. So she moved to Croatia and she would still talk to us about improving our offering, how to talk to clients. It took us about a year to get our act together with the B2B. So lo and behold, I had a great team. We relaunched, we did B2C, but I just noticed at some point in life, you need to make choices whether you're going to pivot or not, because you have to focus.
Yeah.
And when you don't look focused, it shows.
Yeah.
It just reeks.
Totally.
So investors were like, okay, you're doing too many things, and how are you going to do this and how are you going to do that? And we were just burning resources, making money, but
yeah.
you have to choose a
Spending lot.
direction.
Yeah.
So by end of 2021, I met my business partner at a tech startup competition. She joined me, and we just cleaned up a lot of the business.
Yeah.
We bootstrapped. We became a smaller team. We did Valentine's in 2022, and she's like, "We need to talk." And I was like, "Uh-oh, I'm in trouble now." So we have a talk, and she says, "Listen, we either choose B2B or B2C, or I'm going to walk, because this is just too much. And to be honest, I really feel there's potential in B2B. And I think you have what it takes to make this fly." And I said, "But I'm not a salesperson." And she said, "Yes, but you are." So I just said, okay. And then in February or March 2022, every March, they always say, beware the Ides of March, right?
Yes,
it's all about March for me. So March 2022,
so interesting.
Until today, we haven't looked back. We've had 80 clients, solved 17,000 SKUs, made around $2 million in revenue.
Amazing.
And it's just the two of us and maybe two more people in our team. Can you imagine?
That's amazing.
It's been brilliant.
You really took the baton from your lovely French
I swear to God, we really did.
predecessor.
100%.
Amazing.
And yes, it's been a lot of word of mouth and referrals,
Yeah.
but I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. And my learnings in the business, which is now going to be the not so rosy part, is it's very hard for female founders to be written big checks.
Yeah.
And they get very tired because they're always trying to prove themselves and be taken seriously. And I don't feel that's a conversation we should even be having. We should be looking at results.
Yeah.
It should be consensus driven.
And you are such a results, he's a friend. You are such a results driven person.
100%.
Like, I mean, even the way you look at your own life, you're so clear about what you're doing, why you're doing it, even your position in your family, your position in your social context. You're someone who has so much responsibility that you take on.
100%.
But you do it with so much finesse and grace.
That's so kind of you. I'd like to believe so, but I do have my moments where I'm just like, so caught up in this whirlwind where it's so hard to just be more mindful and make sure that everybody around me is being treated in a very conscious way, if that makes sense.
Yeah, of course.
And, making decisions day on, day out. Okay, if we go with this vendor, he's more socially responsible, but more expensive.
Yeah.
And we take a cut on the margin as a result because we don't want to compromise on our values. Sometimes we've had to turn business down because the client has been very, difficult to handle. And we just say, "I'm sorry, but this is not how we work." And I have to do that because I don't want my team to feel they have to resign because they were mistreated.
Yeah, of course.
So you do make decisions that cost.
So question, is CADO a conscious brand?
Very, actually. And I want to get into that because what we realized, and this is what differentiated us because we're a first mover in the market and we found a very strong product market fit, was looking for vendors that had a story rather than bringing you internationally powerful brands that you can go and get from the mall. And I won't mention any names because I don't think that's fair, but we know who they are in Christmas and we've gifted that before. And I think that the world is shifting. The world has enough bags and scarves and pens and perfume. What the world wants now is wants to know where this was made, how this was made, why this was made. And I think the magic word, which I learned the hard way thanks to COVID and thanks to the past 3 years, is value.
Yeah.
Always look for value. Value, it's not volume. It's not about making a quick buck. It's about a relationship. So relationships are very important to us. And even when we go into meetings, we tell the client, "Listen, we're here to support. We understand your overwhelm and pain points in gifts. Why don't you give that to us and we'll just do it A to Z?" Which means there are a lot of sleepless nights. There's more work for us. But that's why we're here. We're here to serve. We're here to remind you that when somebody is giving you a gift, it's done with effort, with gratitude, and there's purpose behind it. And trust me, corporates do care. And it's not just about ticking a CSR box.
Yeah.
They want you to go out there and find that unique artisanal handcrafted piece in a village in Morocco made by Mr. So-and-so who has autism. Really, you know, and I really feel there's blessings in the work as a result of that.
Yeah.
We are becoming a very conscious human race now.
I think we
because
have
of
to.
years of consumerism and wastage.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we want to keep pushing that direction. For example, we work with this incredible two sisters in Canada that make 8 blankets from 17 plastic bottles.
Wow.
Beautiful
that's amazing.
brand. There's another one, McNoon. We work with her. She does this premium olive oil from villages in Palestine and Lebanon from the farmers and tells their story on the box.
Beautiful.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then another one is the Plated Project. Every time you buy a plate from him, it's painted with an artist, and that money is used to feed 10 hungry children around the world.
Wow.
So I'm really touched by their effort.
Yeah, that's incredible.
100%. So if you have to spend more, again, the magic word here is value.
Yeah. When you're putting together your creative concepts, you're thinking about the client, the audience, the kind of gifting experience, and then where does your brand also come in, like the stamp, the CADO stamp?
That's a really good point. So there's an A to Z supply chain process that's quite strenuous. So we would usually go to a client, pitch them samples of our work. We're very low profile and low key. We haven't really got around to marketing. Everything we've been doing has been word of mouth because the clients want privacy and they make us sign NDAs. So we've worked with Netflix. We've worked with, yeah.
There goes the NDA.
We can say that. We just can't say for what.
I'm only
so we
kidding.
worked, exactly. No, it's okay. We worked with Netflix, LinkedIn.
Amazing.
Gucci, Cartier, all these luxury brands,
It's
tech
wonderful.
brands, banking, all of that. And I think they appreciate how low-key we are with them and that we don't share the idea with anyone else.
I mean, it's luxury, right?
100%. Even if it's not, though, a lot of even banks like in Kuwait or Saudi, they all want to hold on to that concept and gift something nobody's seen before. It's different. So it pushes us to really push our boundaries of creativity. For example, we just did a gift for Andrea Bocelli.
Oh my gosh.
And the client...
How amazing.
Yeah, we're really proud. The client who wanted us to do that wanted the coffee cups. It was a coffee Arabic set. Wanted the coffee cups to have his name in Braille.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
It took us 3 weeks to find a vendor that would do that. But it was totally worth it because it comes with a story.
Amazing.
Yeah. So we're very respectful of the privacy of our client. As a result, though, we're not growing as fast as we could, which is fine because it's okay to establish, you're building a brand, you're building credibility and a name. Yeah. And it can go like that as well, you know? So
But on the other side, maybe you can charge a little bit more of a premium. I mean, look, it's, for the effort.
It's difficult because a lot of brands suffered during COVID as well. Yeah. And they want to improve relationships with their partners that they didn't get to see. Usually their stakeholders are employees, the media, events, and clients. So we now have data and we understand how the market landscape looks when it comes to gifting. Amazing. And it's a challenge because a lot of vendors are very, small businesses and they want to make money and they knock our doors and they get upset with me sometimes. Sure. And I'm just like, I have to tend to what the corporate wants. If they don't buy, let's say, jewelry or art, I can't push jewelry and art. We need to listen to the briefs. But I think as we grow, and especially now with our expansion in Saudi and the rest of the Gulf, I think more and more they will start to trust our taste at what we offer.
Of course they will.
Because it's all about the right gift for the right message. So we do everything. I'm talking A to Z, conceptualizing, production, packaging. We do flowers, coffee, perfumes, fragrances, you name it, leather goods. We do collaborations. We commission artists, which is my favorite part. Lovely. Handcraft, artisanas, sustainable themes. Each corporate looks for a different theme. Yeah. So for example, someone like LinkedIn will look for sustainable gifts or like eco-friendly or tech. Somebody like Valentino is not going to be asking for that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's been interesting because we've had to do a lot of research. And one of my really respected friends is quite a well-known scenographer, and he was talking to me about the orange economy.
Oh, I want to hear about this.
So the orange economy is a new concept a lot of us are not yet familiar with, and it's how do you take design work and commercialize that. And this is a big challenge now in the design industry, where designers, fashion designers, interior designers, lifestyle designers are suffering because they create the content or the product, but they're unable to make money out of that or price it properly. And it's almost like every designer needs a co-founder that's more commercially driven, because they almost feel guilty or ashamed to sell their work.
Yeah.
It kind of takes away from the soul of the creativity.
It's very much a thing.
And that might be something even you've dealt with or
yeah,
came across.
100% we have dealt with this. And giving over creativity. And that's in fact why we started our magazine, because we wanted to have creative freedom but still work on projects. And we were like, hey, we're not gonna, we don't wanna make money out of this, but we just want the freedom. But it's ridiculous, because they can work together. You don't have to give something away. There should be a respect for the creative process.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And I think the reason there's no respect is because people don't understand how to give a very thorough creative brief, or how to respect a creative, right?
True.
And so they don't understand the pricing or the amount of time it takes.
Yeah.
Oh, can you edit this? You can't have it all and not want to invest in that.
Yeah.
You need to respect that these are designers and they are making the world a more beautiful place. So we need to incentivize that. So I think it's a good idea for us to speak openly about these challenges and find ways where they understand commercially how to position themselves.
This is amazing.
Even a business course, I don't know, online or something can
we
make
need to brainstorm, baby.
Right?
Yes, super
I think so.
interesting.
I was actually giving advice to a friend of mine who has this beautiful product. She's an artist and she makes these gorgeous lifestyle trays. And I explained to her the concept of distribution, and she was oblivious. She's like, "A what? No, wait, I have to write this down." And for me, I was laughing because it's so simple to me. And I was like, you need to take a business course. This is very important to you. You need a distributor that can approach other businesses to carry your product. You shouldn't be talking to boutiques or department stores or going to events. You need a distributor. And she's like, do they take money? I said, no, they take a commission, obviously, but they are like a showroom. She said, really? Where can I find such a thing? It was such a funny conversation, but for her, such a light bulb aha moment,
Wow. Have you seen a lot of artists and designers being taken advantage of?
Yes, actually a lot.
Yeah.
And even we face that, where the client will want us to just, push the designer down on a discount, and I think sometimes it's unfair to the designer, because how much time and heart and soul, and they've come up with this concept, and you have to balance, because you don't want to ruin relationships with either. But I think in today's world, we need to put a price tag on art. And art comes in many shape and forms.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're all artists. And Einstein always says, creativity is intelligence having fun.
Yeah, it's a
I like
beautiful
that a lot.
quote.
Yeah, it's
no,
true.
You're so right. Okay, I want to pivot a little bit here. Now, you are an exceptional person. You really are. You're a wonderful CEO. You're championing Emirati woman, being an inspiration, showing entrepreneurial spirit, and being super honest and transparent about your journey and what you're dealing with. But I'm sure there's loads of stuff that we don't know that you have been through. Like, was there a moment that you really felt it was all going to fall apart?
Yeah, a lot of times, I think. I think for me...
Okay.
not the past year, but
That's
I think
good.
Definitely during the pandemic.
Yeah.
I was just like, okay, I don't know.
How did everyone around you respond? All those angels and your friends and family
They were so
network?
supportive, to be honest.
That's amazing.
I don't think everyone expected to see me see it through.
Yeah.
And my family was just like, you're just burning. Until when? You need to start taking some big decisions. And not paying the staff for like 2, 3, 4 months was really tough, and they really stuck by me.
Amazing.
And that for me meant the world. and having really tough conversations with vendors and negotiating, paying them back, and thank God today I'm so grateful, because I mean, I think that God is never going to put you in a situation that he knows you can't handle.
Yeah.
And I think it really makes you a stronger fighter and makes you very grateful and humbles you, actually. So I think I needed it. I needed to go through that. And, my parents are not in the picture. I've lost my mom at quite, I wouldn't say a young age, but like 8 years ago. Dad is quite old and, needs taking care of, and it really pushed me to become a very independent, conscious person. And when I say that, I mean, even financially, my financial literacy got shaped a lot in this experience. For example, I don't believe in debt. I don't have a credit card.
Amazing.
I don't own a car. I like to rent cars. My business is the same. And I like that, because I think we don't have any bad karma with anyone today. We don't owe anyone anything.
That's incredible.
We've always made sure every exit, every experience, every vendor, every employee, everything has been dealt with a lot of love and closure. And I think that's something really important, is to ask yourself, do I need to work like that? Do I need to be that person? And there's a reason I left the corporate world. Yeah. Because I felt like we can run businesses in a much more peaceful and conscientious way.
Yeah.
It's important, because I feel like it just makes your days nicer. You go to sleep at night very comfortably. You wake up in the morning feeling great. Working smart is very important as well. It's not about how many hours you put in. It's about efficiency. And you see it now in the different ways people work, what they're used to. If they're used to high pressure, high stress, high drama, it's like, in a way, you're not only leaving the room trying to make a sale. You're also helping that person relax, holding their hand throughout the process. Making them see things from a different angle. Same goes with the vendor, negotiating, like, for example, being more patient, better payment terms. It's these small things. Really, it's the small things.
You're saying they're small things, but each one of those is a mindful decision that you, Leila, have said, how do I want to shape my business? It's easy to say they're the small things. They're not. They're huge things. Because to say it, to think it, but then to do it and to put it into action and make it part of your values as a business.
Huge.
Is a huge
and it's not easy
thing. No, it's a massive
because
thing.
you're always tempted.
Of course.
To make rash decisions and just get on with it. And you need to make a call every day. Like, you need to make decisions that are so detrimental.
Yeah.
And as being a woman, it's hard to make so many decisions day in, day out. Where our nature is not designed to be so, what's the word? Assertive. And people are like, they have issues sometimes with that because of what their misconceptions could be. But I think there's so much positivity and softness that can come in being a female leader.
Yes.
And I'll tell you something really interesting, is that I realized that life is so short after I lost my mom to cancer. She was only 59.
Crazy.
And I'm
so sorry.
It's okay. I think it was a beautiful learning for me, because it taught me that life is short.
Yeah.
And your most valuable currency today is time.
Yes.
So how are you going to spend that time?
Yes.
How much time do you have? What are you going to do to fill up that time with purpose? So I started to realize that how you channel your energy in your workspace is really, really important. Today, you are responsible to manage that energy, keep it at a vibration every single day. And it's not easy. No. You want to be cranky. You want to throw a tantrum. You want to take the day off. You know what I mean? You want to spend frivolously and just spoil yourself. So I went through that shift. And when I was on a payroll, I was way more irresponsible.
Crazy.
Because I always had this misconception of the paycheck, which I like to call it. Once you're responsible and you have other dependents and salaries and you support yourself fully, that form of independence makes you a very responsible human being. You don't have a choice.
Yeah.
You have to hustle. You have to survive. You have to make it.
And you chose it.
I think so.
I chose it. You chose it,
yeah.
Because any entrepreneur, I mean, we chose this.
You chose it.
So
you too.
Of course. I mean, you can never run away from that place that you've put yourself
100%.
in. So
100%.
it's quite funny to talk about these things, you know, because as I was telling you before we started filming, it's easy to look at someone and say, oh my gosh, Leila, she's done so well.
It's perfect.
You know, oh my God, she just came out of nowhere and that business just went, you know.
No.
I see her working with all those luxury brands, but she knew them anyway.
Yeah, I get that a lot.
Right. But it's of course it's not the case. I mean, when you're going in and you're presenting your idea, which is so from the heart
100%.
and so passion-led, and you're adding value and thinking of every little part of everyone who's in your network and how you can bring value and, you know, extend your relationship with them, and then you're putting that out there. I mean, this is like...
Yeah, 100%.
Intense.
100%. And to be honest, the passion is something people feel, and that is what makes them warm up to it. For me, I'll tell you, the thing is, I used to think freedom was real, but it's not. We're always thinking that we want freedom and independence and want to work on a boat somewhere in the middle of the ocean. There's no such thing. You always need to answer to someone. There's always someone who's going to knock your door and going to expect a deliverable from you. And for me, that's why I'm very grateful to my investors, because they've been so supportive, but I never want to let them down.
Yeah.
You know, and it was really interesting. And I'll talk a bit controversy now.
Bring it on, baby.
I went to the Milken Institute.
Yeah.
And the day before at the financial event or the financial summit in Abu Dhabi, Robini had spoken out loud about the Binance founder being a crook.
Yes.
And he said he shouldn't be on stage. He should leave right now. And this guy is a thief. And it was very controversial, and people got up and started clapping. Especially they felt very, you know, emotional about it, given the FTX scandal. And I met him.
We were watching about this the other night.
You saw it, yeah? So I was there, and I met Robini, and I spoke to him. And then I saw the Binance guy defend himself at the Milken Institute because he was grilled. And I asked the economist, Robini, and I said, you know, what's going on in the world? And he's like, there's all these crooks and all these scandals going on. And I said, don't you feel if we had more female founders, we wouldn't be facing this? And he said, actually, that should be my next book. And I said, okay, here's my card. And really,
Amazing.
I do agree, because if you look at the world and you look at businesses that are female founded, like, you know, Jeff Bezos's wife giving all her wealth out like that. And we don't really get tempted to run away with cash the way we've seen it in our male counterparts. And I'm not, you know, a very gung-ho feminist in any way, shape, or form, but I'm looking at statistics, right?
Yeah.
And I'm looking and thinking, why aren't VCs or checks being written to more female founders that, you know, have responsibilities, and some of them are single mothers and some of them have great stories to share? Why aren't we empowering women to be more financially literate and financially independent to go about their business?
Yeah.
We should. And I blame women as well. I'm not just saying this is a one-way. And I tell women, I'm like, you need to get your acts together. Get your ducks in a row. Go out there and learn how to pitch, learn how to speak to VCs, learn how to present yourself. Structure. And I'm coaching on the side a lot, but I don't have as much time as I'd like. But I think my next step will be helping women diversify their portfolio, understand financial literacy, because I feel like when a woman is financially independent, the name of the game changes.
Yeah.
How you come and your seat at the table brings a lot of respect and admiration. And you are setting an example for generations to come, because you are also a teacher to many around you without wanting to be. You're a mother, right?
Yes, of course.
And your kids copy everything you do at early ages. I mean, I'm single, so I don't have that responsibility, but I see my business partner and other people, they are setting the tone for their children to step into those footsteps later.
Yeah. We all have those responsibilities. I really love what you said about there's always someone to answer to, and understanding the responsibility of taking on more and more of the freedom. There's nothing wrong with being responsible. I mean, perhaps the social construct we have around us of social media and all of these other, you know, kind of content engines that are pushing ideologies towards us want us to, you know, jump on different narratives. But when you have children, when you have parents, when you have friendships, when you have employees, when you are an employee, like, it's normal to have this mutual respect and feel part of a bigger network. That's all tied back to responsibility, but in a really beautiful way.
100%.
I was talking yesterday to someone and I was like, there is a flow. I believe human beings are meant to be in a flow. We're made of water. I mean,
It's true.
There is a fluidity. Mentally, ideologically, if that's a word, but the way that we connect to one another, there should be a flow. And that sense of responsibility is a part of that flow. If I know I can count on you, then all of a sudden we become, a bigger entity.
For sure.
So forth and so
100%.
forth. So it's a very interesting thing. I've also been looking a lot at this kind of topic and agenda and how we think and how we become leaders and inspire, all the things that you were mentioning at the beginning of the podcast. People getting on board with your vision, people being self-motivated, having that contagion around the mission of what the brand is doing, all of those things.
For sure.
But without this element of responsibility, or if people think that responsibility is a dirty word, it's hard to rise up.
It's a mindset, honestly. It's I think the world is slowly starting to be more aware, especially in this part of the world now. Our leaders have been so generous and giving with us. We need to be conscientious enough to realize the burden that they face in securing jobs in private sector, public sector, especially government roles. We need to understand that subsidizing costs and all these benefits that we gain as nationals are not sustainable. You have to reinvent yourself. You need to get with the program. You need to understand technology. You need to know that in 3 years, 7,000 jobs will not exist anymore. What are you going to teach your children to be ready for in the future? What about coding camps? What about, understanding digital marketing? Times are changing faster than we would like to fathom. And I think this is very important to me as well, because a SME or a startup creates more jobs. And in a way, you are creating an ecosystem, like you said. 100%. It's an ecosystem of energy being exchanged on a daily basis. What's really beautiful is when people believe in you and want to support you without expecting anything in return. And it's just sort of like, give and you shall receive. And it just echoes back. And it's just a series of giving and receiving.
I'm going to be controversial, but I do feel this is a very female-orientated mindset.
Yes.
And the person I was talking to yesterday was also a female founder. She's an incredible woman like yourself. And I think these conversations are really important, because we shouldn't see it as a burden. We should see it as a blessing. We should see bringing people into our network and being responsible for them and taking that on because we have the experience and the know-how. Although we're still learning, we're a little bit more able. We can handle it. So we should do it.
Yes.
Yes. But it is very much around the female founder perspective, from what I can see when I look out there.
There's a lot of EQ there, I can tell you, working with male and females. Women are able to multitask more.
Yeah.
They like to get stuff done. No nonsense or like, what about me? I don't blame our male colleagues either, just because I know they have a lot of pressure.
No, boys, you're amazing. Don't worry. Exactly. We love you.
Yeah, because I tell you what, I get invited to all these International Women's Day events to speak about, discrimination in the workforce. And I really think this
but that's kind of not what it's about either. Like, that's not what we're talking about here.
Yeah, no, but I do feel that's not the purpose. Like, we should include them in the conversation to come up with solutions on helping each other both grow. There's space for everyone, you know what I mean?
100%.
And men feel very pressured that they have to make it and they need to, they're competitive and they need to achieve and they need to provide. And I think everyone just needs to relax a little about that. Expectations need to be taken a notch down.
They need to get in the flow, baby.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
100%. So I think the world now will start to see a lot of change. People will get more creative with how they make money. And how they manage money.
Yeah.
And then, sometimes people will be like, oh, but this is poor or that's rich. And I'm like, define poor and define rich. You know what I mean? Yeah. You go to India, they don't even know what a camera is and they're the happiest people in the world. and you can have everything in the world and unable to touch your assets because they're frozen for whatever reason, and can't even buy yourself the next meal, and you need to borrow from someone because you're not liquid.
Yeah.
So really,
or you can have it all and have a terrible mental health state that's completely blocking you from reaching
100%.
any kind of potential.
100%.
So
And
there's
that's
a billion scenarios.
That's actually interesting you're saying that, because as you want to grow and scale and make your investors happy, you need to ask yourself every day, at what cost?
Yeah.
Is this costing me my health and wellness? Which we really underestimate. And I think after COVID now, we can feel this new rush of traffic and responsibility and deadlines, and everybody wants it now and now and now. And we don't realize the impact it's having on our mental health, our mental state, to just want downtime. You know what I mean? And nothing's wrong with that. You need time to process your day, your life. So that's it for me.
So what does CADO look like in like 2 years from now?
That's a beautiful question, and I love it because I love talking strategy and high level. My team,
big picture.
Exactly. My team, my mentors, my advisors are like, okay, focus on revenue. For me, the big picture is very clear. And we have a certain target of revenue we want to share and we want to achieve, and we want our investors to be aware of, which is quite a high number, but I know we can do it. I would like to grow the team. I'd like to scale the business in 4 cities, and those cities include more market share in the UAE, especially Abu Dhabi, Qatar, Kuwait, and Saudi Arabia. Saudi is detrimental to our business. Anybody who doesn't realize how important Saudi is to the rest of the countries in the Middle East is putting their head in the ground like an ostrich. Because Riyadh itself has 9 million people, and that's the population of the UAE altogether.
Amazing.
So making business with Saudi and really supporting them and bridging that gap is really important to CADO and the UAE and the GCC. So they're very important to us. We're going to open there in January 2023.
Congratulations.
I'm excited.
That's
I'm
wonderful.
going to be on the lookout for the right talent out there. And networking for CADO is very important because it's a service brand, and it's a gifting brand. It's all about giving. And it's all about finding art and talent out there. So the next 2 years will be us expanding into these cities, building the technology. And the technology is something I can't wait to share, but I'm not yet privy to that knowledge because we're just closing the founding team. We found an amazing CTO male.
Amazing.
He's going to complement the team a lot, and he's going to be building something I think that could be the next unicorn, actually.
Amazing.
I'm really excited. So nothing like this exists in Asia or the Middle East.
Amazing.
It's really going to support our clients and B2B partnerships on another level. We're looking at lots of partnerships with big family groups to supply them on the procurement side with everything they need.
Amazing.
All the way from coffee to chocolate down to flowers, you name it. Packaging.
Amazing.
There's a lot of data acquisition we get asked for, data insights on gifting by the big brands, lots of learnings there. Another thing I see is looking for like-minded startup talent that can multitask and wear a lot of hats. So that's, I think I covered it. So building a team, looking for more partners on the logistics and fulfillment side, signing on board more partnerships with the big groups, the technology, and scaling. I'll be fundraising, of course. I think in a year we'll be ready for the VC raise for the big bucks. So managing the cap table, the equity, and how that's going to look like.
Amazing.
The right strategic partners. And I say this to a lot of people. Don't look for just money. Money is everywhere.
Money's out there.
Trust me.
Yeah.
Look for a strategic person that will open doors for you.
Totally.
You want investors that care, that believe in you, that support you. And trust me, people come because they believe in the founder. You can have it all. You can have the fancy office, the good idea, the technology, the product, the service, whatever it is. If you do not have the right team, all of your efforts are just in vain.
To close this off,
Aw.
it's been an amazing
Same
conversation.
Here. Really special.
Amazing. If you can drop 3 pearls of wisdom on someone who has a big idea and wants to make it happen, what would they be?
Okay. So from my experience, I always succeeded when I found there was a big gap in the market. Always look for a problem that you face. Ask a few people if they face it too, and then go after that all the way. Look for a problem. Don't think that everybody loves your idea, because they don't. Trust me, I've been there. You know, I mean, even me with the gifting app, I was like, what could go wrong? And I realized, I need to inject a lot in content creation, marketing, data acquisition. I need big checks. I need a lot of money. There's so much competition.
Yeah.
You know, people will copy you easily. So, like, find your niche.
Especially here.
100%. Find your niche. Find your niche. And you know what? People will copy you. What are you going to do about it? You need to keep reinventing yourself and be ahead of the times. The second thing is, talk to people. Don't be scared to ask for advice. Find the right mentors, the right advisors. People want to help you in this field. People in the startup space are very generous with their time and energy.
It's really hard.
Yeah, it's true.
You know, I think people want to see you succeed, actually.
And the most people who have supported me when it comes to advice and all of that have been my male counterparts, people I've met very serendipitously.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, it is actually. The third piece of advice is, do not burn too much money too fast or raise too fast. Really.
Yeah.
There is a magic in small raises
and
in managing that cash and getting learnings out of it. The more money you have, the faster you'll burn.
Yeah.
I've seen businesses go out of business in 2 years because they had too much cash they didn't know what to do with.
Yeah.
Why? I'll tell you why. You come up with a concept. You raise money, you know you're going to get from A to C. So you burn money between A to C. And then you're in C and you have all these learnings and you don't have money to follow through with those learnings to take you from C to Q.
Yeah.
So take it slow and don't go on a frenzy because everybody wants to sell you something, right? Make the right choices on who you're going to work with and why. So yeah. That's it.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, Meredith.
You're coming back next year.
Such
we want to hear all
pleasure.
about Saudi.
Can't wait.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your
Thank you.
time.
And really excited to see how Capital D grows with all these new collaborations.
Yeah, me too.
All the best.
Watch
Thanks for
this
having
space.
me. I know, right? Thank you.
Thank you so much, love.